What's going on, everybody? Here we have an old Murray trimmer. This was manufactured in May of 2016. So it's got a couple years on it anyway. But this actually belonged to a guy down the street. It's a Murray M2510. So the story behind it is he had two trimmers. He happened to see my son out cutting grass and had him swing by and do some cutting and trimming for him. Gave him this one and another one. I think the other one might be 4-cycle, but anyway, said it supposedly runs, but it had some issues, and so he wasn't able to use it. Now, when I was first looking at it, the shaft, you can see where it has a, right here it's a 2-piece shaft. It has a lot of play in it, so this stuff has been used, and as far as we can tell, everything's there. The carburetor's on it, the throttle works, pull cord works. Haven't checked it for fire, but so everything seemed to be going fine, right? So just checking it out. Got down here to the spool, make sure the spool was on it. The spool was on it. I took it off, and before you couldn't even spin it. So at first I thought maybe it was just the spool pieces. It still had some leftover string on it from him. They had this so tight. There's no joke. This was on here because, you know, the string piece goes on. This goes on the end to hold everything together. I couldn't get it off by hand. I actually had to use an old pipe wrench to bite on it real soft, because you don't want to do it real hard, because you can split the plastic. Just enough to bite on it, and it popped loose, came off, and kept rocking it and rocking it, and it finally freed up to where you could spin it. But we'll have to take it apart and check the grease in it. It feels like it's dry in there. So we'll get them screws out, check it, make sure it has grease, make sure all the teeth in there on the gears are good. And but first things first, I have to find some fuel. The lines look like they're good. Well, I guess I could check the tank. But on the outside of the tank, the lines look good. On the inside, yeah, it's got a filter on it. Everything's there, so we'll get some fuel in it, and we'll see if it runs. If it runs, then I guess technically we'll worry about the spool head. Alright, we'll get you guys up on a tripod, and I'll get some fuel. Okay, so apparently I just wasted part of your guys' time on this. Thought I was filming and wasn't. I thought I turned it off. I thought I turned it back on. Apparently it's just been sitting here. But the flipped it over because it was acting like, I mean, granted, the primer, as you can see there, the primer is split, and obviously didn't want to start because we was yanking the crap out of it. But so the only thing I could think of was, other than that, was the fuel filter, keeping it from getting fuel up in it when we was priming it, besides the split primer ball. So where I thought I was filming, it wasn't. I flipped it up, pulled the fuel line out, took the fuel filter off of it. I had another carb downstairs, spare one, and changed the primer out on it, which these are simple. It's just the your two screws. You got one here, the metal ring comes off, and then your primer comes off. But is a lot of times that the piece that it goes to, it separates, but it's not rocket science. You'll figure it right out. You put your primer in, put your two, your steel ring, your two screws in, tighten it down, and your primer should work fine. And then I wish I'd have been filming it because I had to adjust the carburetor a little bit. It wasn't too far out, just enough. It just had where they was running into issues. What it seems to me is like they was running into issues and was adjust the carb out to give it more fuel, and was giving it actually too much fuel. So now it does run. I want you to make a liar out of me and not start back up. Which actually runs pretty good. It still needs tuned, but do the final tuning with the air filter on it. So you see how get the dirt out of it. Throw this on real quick, because trust me, it does make a difference. I've ran into that problem in the past. Have the cover off, tune the carb, throw the cover and air filter back on, and you're just retuning it again to make up for the difference of the carburetor. So let's see what we get now. See how it's a little sluggish when you first hit the throttle. See if we can kind of get that out of it. We will address it. Carburetor seems to be okay. So I just have my doubts about that spool head. It seems to be good. So let's see what we can do with it. This part I gotta make quick. I got dinner waiting. Don't want to keep Mama waiting. So see if we can get her to slide off. I didn't think it was going. I figured the spool head was going to be bad and we'd have to swap it out, but for the gearbox anyway. Oops, she's tight. That right there is your main screw that holds it on, the head actually on. Crack these other ones loose, and it should hopefully get the tension off the shaft and come off. Try to see if we can get down in there. There we go. Without having to separate all this. She's been used and abused. Alright, let's get these screws out real quick. You got 2, 4, 6, well, counting the little one, there's 7 screws. Should have got the drill, huh? Make this a lot quicker for you guys so it ain't all drug out. Just wish I wouldn't have lost the other part of the video. That sucked. But, what are you going to do, right? But it was just a basic fuel filter holding it up, then a basic carb adjustment, swap the primer, but make sure you put, I'll have to get one for this one. Make sure you put a new fuel filter on it. If not, you're going to be sucking all kinds of crap up in there. There we go. Now, see if I can get you guys in here where you can see this. This is your gear setup. See where your spool's at. Comes up. Hopefully not drop anything. Oh, zoom out, dummy. This basic setup, so you can get in there and look at it. You could feel it when I was spinning it, when it was all completely together. When you spin it, you could feel it dragging. But with the tension off the case, it eased up a lot. But it looks like all the teeth are good. So, should be nothing to worry about. Everything appears to be fine. I'll get it where you can see it anyway. So everything appears to be fine. The teeth look good. So all I'm going to do is let that sit there. And you got the other half of your case. It's got, you can see the wad of grease in it. So what we're going to do is get a rag. And get that blob out of there and wipe her out real good. That's all there is to it. You really got to be spotless. I mean, it's a older model, but this thing still, if you take care of it, man, it should still have a lot of life left in her. You just got to take care of your equipment. Let's see if we can get some of that out. That's just wear and tear and dirt and cutting the grass there. I can get it where you can see it, but just clean it out since we have it apart. Get all the dust out. Just zoomed out some. Sitting here talking, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Alright, so I got, hopefully this will work. Got this off my dad a while back. It's just basic wheel bearing grease. Automotive. So what we're going to do is pack the case. Just dig your finger in that tub and get it out. It ain't going to bite you. It really doesn't take much. I just pack them. And you just pack them full. Now if I don't have any right now, but if I did have some brake clean, I'd spray this out, clean it real good, but it doesn't appear to have a whole heck of a lot down in it there, so I'm not going to worry about it. That should do her. Now once we get it back together, we get it fired up and them gears start spinning around, it should start sucking that grease up. But I'm going to stick a blob down in between these gears just for good measure. Pop that one out. But yeah, the teeth look good. They're a little low on the inside there, but it should be fine. Here we go. So we're all greased up, ready to throw it back together. And it's just basic wheel bearing grease. It's, you can get $5 or $6 probably. It's just Walmart brand, Super Tech. Shouldn't be that much. Last you a while, should. And open the shaft. It's spinning. I don't know why they got grease up in that far, but why not, right? We're at it. Might as well just hit it just for GP. Just to help the cable out some. I honestly don't think it'll make a difference, but worst it's going to do is not do anything. At least we know it's there. You can slide that cable right out and clean it all up and re-grease it and everything if you wanted to. So now, got her back together. It's going to squish out the access. Throw your screws back in. Just remember your short screw is what goes in here to hold that onto the shaft. Make sure I got you guys. Yeah. So you got your little one. They're all long except for this one. That's the one that holds it onto the shaft itself. So I'm gonna get these started. So I was gonna fix this. Give it back to the guy, and well, that's what my son was telling him. He said, well, no, we'll fix it and, you know, give it back to you. And he's like, oh no. He said, I'll go ahead and pay you for cutting the grass, trimming the lawn, and you can take these 2 weed eaters and keep them. If you fix them, you know, do whatever with them. So if we get this one running right, I'll have my son take it back down to him and surprise him with it. I don't know if he'll ever use it or not, but, you know, hey, at least he has it fixed free of charge. Just doing our part, you know. Alright. Now they're just snug. I didn't tighten them all the way down. They're just snugged up. I'll get that little one started and then alright, feels like it hit. Alright, I'm going to get that little screwdriver. Is this the one? One of them has a little smaller tip. This is a slide on this one, doesn't go clear across. Alright. But you are better off because it has a, you can put a star bit in there to take them in and out. You're better off with using a star bit than you are using a flathead. Give you a better grip. Alright, let's tighten her down, see what we get. Get on there. God, this video is going to be way too long. Here we go. Alright. It'll be a long video, but it's in detail, kinda, minus the carb. That's my fault. So there we go. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it feels a lot better than what it did. Alright, so now we're going to fire it up and make sure that spins. So we're good to go. The true test will be once we get it all totally back together. see how it acts. But I don't have to wrap it up for this one because I am, well, there's enough string on here. We can at least see if we can spool her up and try to get it to do a little something. There's not much string left on it, and I'm currently out, so I haven't messed with any of these in a while. Where's the top? There it is. Alright. So it's a basic setup. This one's set up for 65, 0.05, 0.095, 0.065, so you can run a variety of line in this one. It'll show you on the bottom. Should have arrows. Yeah, it'll have arrows telling you which way to wind it. This one's case. It goes. You got a little notch in there. Just slide it in. Oh, and don't drop it. Give her some turns. Do the other end the same way. Should have enough in it to make sure everything's working. I hope. Come on. Alright, spring down. Well, so you guys can see it, because you got, this one doesn't have the slots that just drop in. You got a hole in a hole. So we get one in right there. And there's some stiff line. Get the other one in up here. Alright, alright. There we go. Now this part, I don't know how they had this thing so tight. You don't have to crank them with a freaking hand tool to get them to tighten up. That's it. You know, it tightens up. It's by hand. Make sure everything moves smooth. Now, back this thing up as far as it'll go. I thought I already did, but let's see what happens now. Make sure our cable's good. Go. It functions. All he needs is a little bit of string and he's ready to rock and roll. Now, the only thing that I can't address on this is because of basic wear and tear is the shaft where your button is, because this is a multi-tool trimmer. See if you look real close, if you watch right here where the pin's at. See how it's slopping around in there? So it's just basic wear and tear. It's just rounded out. There ain't really nothing I can do for him on that. I mean, if you wanted to keep it as a trimmer strictly, you could get it to where it's leveled off, and if you have a welder, you probably put a couple small tack welds on it just to hold it tight. But we ain't gonna worry about that. And that pretty much sums it up, man. Thanks for watching, guys. And it's a Murray M2510 2016 model, 25cc. Man, I wish I wouldn't have lost the video of the carb, but that sucks. But just in case you need to know, if you flip it to where your gas tank is up, this green line, which if you're looking at it this way, here's your fuel cap right here. The one on the right, which in this one's case is green, that's your primer line. The black one on the left is your main fuel line. Just in case you need to change your fuel lines, that way you know. So all I can do now is get him I'll have to dig around in my stash. I really don't think I do, but I'll dig around in the stash and see if I have a fuel filter for it. But so that takes care of it, man. And I might clean that up a little bit too. You can hit that with a wire brush, get the rust off, maybe give it a little love tap with a hand file and just put an edge back on it. But it's pretty good, but it'd be nice just to clean it up a little bit. But that's it. I don't want to hold you up. So that covers your gear head right here. We re-greased it because when I first brought it back here, this is all you could move it, and finally got it, worked it, and got it to where it'd free up. So we got it apart, took it off, got it apart, re-greased it, and got it running. So kind of a longer video than I wanted it to be, and I lost some of the best footage, but it's a win, bro. It's good for him. It's got a good air filter in it, so I'll track down a fuel filter for it, and I'll have my son take it down there and see if he wants it back. If he doesn't want it back, that's fine. If he does, that's fine. If he don't, my son will just keep it and use it for a spare. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you at the next one.